So I've been kind of worried about timing because these videos, if they get too long, I can't upload them to places where I can give them to you. So I'm struggling with that a little bit, but I'm going to slow down, and if I have to cut the videos later, I will, because otherwise I'm just way too rushed. So I'm looking at this now and thinking about the next layer, and I'm not worried at all because I know how the process is very forgiving, and you layer. So what you like, you can keep. Sometimes you accidentally don't keep it. What you don't like, you build upon. So for me, I actually like the more subtle places in this, and I don't particularly like the real harsh, even though that's cool because it's hard, the real harsh black and white. I know I want the light coming in, so I'll keep a lot of this light. Also, I know even though the lines look messy, I know in end product a lot of times I like the lines. If you look at this, you'll see what I mean. So I don't want to get rid of all those white lines, but I also don't want to worry about it either because I can bring them back. So I would probably at this point still do another layer of white and not start with the stencils yet, because I want that real, again, that real soft muted background, and I obviously don't have that yet. So the other thing you can use too is, and I'll do it this time, is zinc white, which is more transparent. I think I have enough in there. Maybe not. Whoops, now I got too much. Surprise! Now you guys can see just how messy I really am. Again, I'm spreading. I think you guys can see this. I'm spreading it out, and obviously that's going to go on a lot thinner because of a lot more transparent because it's the zinc. And I'm just going to show you, like, I do like those lines, but I don't want to get too many, so you can just take and kind of blot that back. If you're worried about wasting, you can, start adding some in. Now, the only thing I would be mindful of, but not like worried about, is retaining. Like, I love this spot right here. Again, I love the lines. I love this area here. Try to avoid covering these up. Not a big deal because you can create more stuff later, but keeping that in mind is always nice. So I'm going to actually press this right here, and again, this is more transparent, so it's probably not going to cover it completely either. And I'm going to start being a little bit more mindful of pressing. Now it's pretty thick because I pressed nice, but also you still have that transparency there. And once it's wet, you're not going to have as much paint stick, so it didn't make this a lot more paint laden with this, but it did add some more there, so you get some kind of blending. And I'm already thinking, like, obviously I like trees, so I'm keeping in mind that this side probably is going to have some trees. So I am starting to think a little bit about composition, not a ton. But as you can see, it didn't put a whole lot on with that zinc white. I'm going to do some more. If I can get it out, I should probably get that ready for next time, huh? Obviously, you don't have to get it completely covered either if you don't want perfect rectangles. And you can see how this is much more subtle. I'm going to leave some of that dark. And that zinc is really nice for pushing back colors later, and I'll show you what I mean later on with that. I'll take a minute to do a little bit. Ooh, somehow we got some green come out of there. Interesting. But right now I am kind of deliberately thinking I want pretty even, full jelly plates. Later on, I will be more intentional not to get that. And I am thinking of overlapping these. And I'm thinking about light source right now. But I don't want them all lined up in a straight line. I want to get that back and forth. And again, nothing is permanent, so if I don't like, you know, how concrete that is, I can change that later. And there's still some paint on there, but it's not taking anymore because it's wet and there's not as much on here. The other thing I was going to tell you guys is I do clean these off. I don't spend a lot of time getting them perfect, but I do find that even though some people suggest you can just leave them dirty and that kind of adds to it, the next pressings you do, that it's they don't seem to work as well after a while if they're full of paint. So anyway, you can see somehow I got that green in there, but I'm okay with that. But again, obviously I have my palette of colors too, so I'm not going to get a color that I don't like anyway. But I am going to just push that around a little bit. And again, now that we're on top of more paint, we're able to kind of blend things a little bit more, but not too much. Again, I want to keep those colors. And for me, I find a lot of straight lines, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, are more pleasing to me. I think it's because of what you kind of tend to see in nature, rather than getting a zigzaggy. But trying to push this back a little bit too to get some more depth, rather than it all just being one. That heart just doesn't want to go away, does it? Thinking about the light here. So there's my second layer. I probably will do, likely will do one more layer with either the titanium, zinc, or a combination of the two of them before I move on to a color. So there you go. Obviously, if you're watching this, I'm not with you showing you, so if you guys have questions, you can text me and I'll try to help you with what I've learned. So, bye.